I'm Jyotsna Hegde, and you're watching Travel and Diplomacy, a new series by New India Abroad. Joining us today is the Consul General of India, Atlanta, Mr. Ramesh Babu Lakshmanan, and Mr. Amit Kumar Sharma, who is the head of America's VFS Global. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Namaste.
So, Mr. Lakshmanan, let me begin by congratulating you on your new role. You've been in Atlanta for the past 8 months. So, tell us how your last 8 months have been so far.
Thank you, Josna. It's really great. We are all meeting each other, and it's a great. So my first event I attended was within my 26 hours of my arrival, so I could figure it out. So it's a big thing. Starting from there until 8 months, 8 months are passed. It went very fast. Great so far, exceptionally great. Very happy to be in Atlanta. The community here is exceptionally great. They all guide me initial days that what are the roles and responsibilities as a CG, what have happened previous years. They become kind of an institutional memory for us. It's very easy for us to work with the community. It's not only in Atlanta. In addition to that, I cover other 6 states: Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, and Tennessee. So in addition to that, Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. So everybody seems to be very, very excited. So do I am, and I'm meeting them, interacting with them, getting their ideas. What is the focus? What is the new India? What is that we should do together with the community, joining with community? What are the things? So it's going good so far. Very happy, and it's continuing to be happy. I'm very happy to be here.
So, Mr. Sharma, VFS is the largest outsourcing and technology specialist company. So, tell me, can you give us an overview of 2023 and the travel trends for 2024?
Sure. Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity. It's great to be here with the Honorable Consul General. As many of you know, VFS Global is one of the world's largest organizations that provides, non-judgmental tasks, services, administrative services, and handle the front-end tasks for the many governments and embassies across the world. The organization that started in 2001 back home in India with the US consulates in Mumbai, now worked in about 150 countries. We have more than 3,500 visa application centers, and have the privilege of working with 67 client governments. Over the years, of course, the travel sector has completely changed. There have been a massive shift from the technology perspective, and as an organization, we have made sure that we meet those expectations of our client governments and the applicants. 2023 particularly has been a year of growth after the COVID. It was first full year, and in the travel trade, it's called the year of revenge travel. And truly, the numbers were back. A lot of people started travel, business travel, students, and all of those kind of travels which were taken a back seat during COVID has truly come back now. And in 24, that we expect the momentum to continue. The numbers will continue to increase. We are working with all our client governments, partners, to make sure that we are able to meet those expectations, meet their requirements that they have, both from the solutions perspective as well as from the perspective of scaling up the services quickly. So we are able to do that. And I think 2024, looking at half year trends now, will be the similar to 2023, where the travel will continue to grow. And if you look at the projections of WTTC or the UN, they've expected the travel will continue to grow and will reach to the maximum of 11 trillion US dollar, for 1 year. And I think our numbers, we don't know exactly how many visas are issued because we are not involved in the decision making process, but we can see the trend from the number of people applying for visas, and those trends are continue to improve.
So, you've been meeting the community members and also the diaspora. So, what are your key priorities for the next year and beyond?
Yes, so I'm meeting, as I said already, I'm meeting a lot of community members, community leaders. I met them individually in social occasions. So I could sum it up my priorities, including community and other things, into 3 C's and 3 T's. 3 C's: community, connecting with community, and consular services, and connect with the student. So these 3 connections, I call it 3C. And when I come to T, it is trade, tourism, and technology. So I'll come back to that part second. So community is the biggest strength. As you all know, that Indian community came away home, and made US as their home. And they contributed well to this new place, wherever they adopted the new home. So they are professionals, academicians. So name it a field, they are there everywhere. And they contributed. So for us, we take pride in community success. We, as I keep on saying, that wherever we go, we ride on the success of community, because wherever we go, the name of India comes in, not because of consulates and the government of India, mostly because of the community and the way they act. So for us, that becomes a very important role. So it's job easy by the success of communities. We all take pride in their success and in their future endeavors. We want to be partnering with them. We associate with them. We continue to grow with community, to see the new areas of cooperation between community, in addition to all the cultural aspects of them, which they are all actually truly cultural ambassadors. I want to make them yoga ambassadors. I want them to be technology ambassadors. I want them to be all the other areas of future tourism ambassadors and everything. So next part is consular services. So when I'm saying that community is important, so their services, what we are offering in consulate, becomes equally important. So to have consular services, the continuation of all the services, what we are doing. In addition to that, to see what are the possibilities avenues to improve the services, to make them to reach to their doorsteps, wherever they are there, how to make it more use of technology and make it more robust and make it more user-friendly. So that is my second C, where consular affairs, in addition to that, how to make it more connectivity, more connecting with the community in the consular system. The third connect is connect with the students and younger generation. So while we are actively engaged with the communities and everything, I want to particularly focus on connecting with Indian student, Indian diaspora student, and the youngsters. I call it second and third generation of them, to understand their aspiration, to understand their perspective, to understand their aspirations, what is that they want to be like an Indian American, what is their expectation, what is their role, what is that expectation from consulate and everything. I'm very much eager to connect with them, which I am already seeing a lot of youngsters being parcel of all the events, most of the events which happen in Atlanta, in Florida and other places. I could see a lot of youth taking the role as MCs, participating even, coming and chanting a lot of Indian related stuff, which is very, very mind-boggling. Very happy that they are already connected to the roots, which is India. They are all taking a lot of interest. So that has become another focus. So coming to the 3 T's. Trade, of course. So we have our embassy in Washington, which takes care of all the trade-related, policy-related issues. But having said that, we are also exploring what are the avenues within my jurisdiction to have more trade between India and the Southeast USA, including Georgia. So we are trying to identify, with the help of a lot of other, leaders from this region, what are the areas we could, traditionally we are good in some of the areas, what are the non-traditional or the new areas where we could increase our trade between India and Southeast USA. So the new areas of electric vehicles, film industries, and logistics. So these are the areas which is coming up. We have to do a lot of work on that, because it's not easy. And you all know the Savannah is a growing port from direct trade from India. So logistics becomes one of the important aspect of that trade promotion. In addition to that, we are exploring what are the other things. Comes tourism. Yes, so that's coming. A lot of studios are coming into Atlanta. So we are exploring what are the possible avenues between Indian movie industry and this one, to have technology transfer. In addition to that, learning know-how of studios and other things. So that is another area. And coming back to tourism. So tourism is another key area, which Amit had already mentioned, that revenge tourism is happening and people love to travel. They want to live for today. So COVID has shown that you can't save for tomorrow. People I have seen, especially this valid in domestic travel. So when I was in India after COVID, I've seen people from south of Mumbai going to north of Mumbai, staying there for 2 days in a weekend and come back. So that is the tourism I'm talking about. That is domestic tourism. But sitting here, we are encouraging foreign tourism from foreign countries would go. So this Chalo India program by Honorable Prime Minister is a good step in that. We are encouraging our community and others to help to pass the message that how to go, where to go to India. Because everybody knows about India, there are a lot of history behind India, civilizational linkages and everything. So there is a small nudge is required, that a prompt is required for them to come to VFS and apply for visa and go to India. So we are all encouraging tourism. So that is also one of the priority areas. And technology. See, technology is a great aspect between India-US relationship. You all know that it is one of the defining relationship in 21st century. It's ever growing, and technology becomes an important part of it. So wherever technology, whatever technology available, I'm meeting wherever I visit. I go to the universities, meet the professors and scientists there to see what are the latest technology which is available. Even if it is small technology, it will be useful to take it back to India. They are very much eager to share the technology. So that is also going to be, so the 3 T's and 3 C's are my priorities.
So, sustainability is a key priority for global corporations everywhere. So, can you tell us how VFS incorporates the global ESG requirements in your day-to-day operations?
Sure. So ESG for us is a key growth driver at VFS Global. So our ESG framework that includes five different levers that we have. So which is sustainable economic growth. Then we have good governance, nurturing our people, protecting the environment, and supporting the communities. So over the years, of course, we have made sure all these five drivers are well integrated into our day-to-day operations. So just to give you a couple of examples, if I take 2019 as the base year before COVID, our carbon footprints have dropped by 48%. In all our WACs put together, currently we are using 76% green energy and 24% non-green. If I talk about the third point, nurturing people, alone in 2023, put together all the training man days is about 54,000, which is about 150 years of training man days at VFS Global across the globe. A little more than 10,000 people are working for the organization. And in that, there is a ratio of 54% to 46. 54% are the women colleagues. That promotes, of course, our concept of diversity, equity, and inclusion. 29% of our leadership are women colleagues across the globe. That again, of course, significantly establishes the fact that how the goals of ESG that we have are well integrated into our systems, completely. When we talk about nurturing our talent or taking care of the people within the system, it includes various platforms that we have for them. I name it from the MDPs to LDPs of the world, training, their educational enhancement, skill set, protecting their, of course, their admiration and expectations from the growth perspective is well taken care of within the organization. So we will continue to make sure that we create an organization which is able to handle the present, prepare for the future, care for people, society, and the planet. And of course, ESG from that perspective is essential for us and is well articulated into our day-to-day business.
So, passport and visa services are of paramount importance, especially in a place like Atlanta where there's a growing population. So, can you tell us what enhancements you see in the near future for the consulate?
So as I rightly said that consular services. So our thing first is to reach out. So in the reaching out, there are 2-3 ways of reaching out. With the use of technology, we reach out through social media. We reach out to WhatsApp calls. We reach out through various other means. Like we listed an emergency number, which is pinned message in Facebook and other social media. In addition, website. Anybody who can call any emergency, they can come to our consulate. If it is on a weekend, we are ready to open. We kind of open 365 24/7. We are always available. A duty officer is always alerted, though it is not publicly listed, but he is ready to come and do avail services. So the routine services and the emergency services. So this is the emergency. Routine services is usual. It's people know how to do, what to do, where they do. But our focus is mostly on the emergency services because people get into all the emergency issues. So that is our focus. That is where the emotions and everything is more. So that is where there is a lot of scope to improvement. So that's what we are doing it. So we have listed our numbers. For student affairs, there is 2 numbers which is listed in addition to the emergency number. 2 officers numbers are also listed. So anybody who is into any issues, any student, anybody, any other issues, they can immediately contact because that has been a focus area for us. So that's the emergency services. Coming to the normal services, as he rightly said, Amit has rightly said, that consular services and reaching out the consular services at the doorstep. Having consular campaigns in various places is really, really useful because people do have to send applications to Atlanta. From there, it comes to consulate and goes back. So that postal delays can be stopped when we go to the consular services. People can come for immediate requests, immediate result. That is another. In the consular service, the most important thing is to clarify the lot of apprehensions, lot of procedural related difficulties which our community face. So I keep going and meeting all the communities. So they have this problem of procedural related, process related, that documentation related. So that's the biggest success of consular camps, where you go and explain to the community, and we kind of train the community leaders there. So they become well versed in the documentation requirement. If anybody contacts them, they don't need to contact the consulate. They can contact the community leader in that region. He will explain these are the documents. So they become a kind of experts. It's like train the trainer types. So we are doing that also. We are focusing on that so that every request should not come. They are more comfortable within their jurisdiction. So we go to that step in, and we are trying to do with VFS. Of course, we go with VFS also to redress this consular camp issue. So we are also very open to have more focus on that. Like as I said, that application process is a big problem. So we are coming up with a video to do step-by-step process on how to apply for OC application, because I see most of the trouble in OC application. So there is a video already, old video, which has been circulating, but we have circulated to all the community leaders to pass it on to everyone. We are making our own professional video to go step by step. So that will be released in a couple of weeks time. We did first cut, but we are not happy with the quality of the sound and light and things. So we are going with a professional quality. And same we will do for application, miscellaneous application. Same we'll do for passport application, so that they have a step-by-step guide, which is not by anybody. So we are going to do that. So that is one thing we are going to do. And 24/7, I already mentioned that we are available 24/7. We would love to do weekends and Sundays and Saturdays with a specific time, but we are available 24/7 on Saturdays, Sundays also. So whenever there is an emergency call, our team stays close by, they come and address it. So it's like 365 24/7. So these are the two things which I'm focusing: emergency and the usual application process. Rest we are kind of okay with the satisfaction. We are very happy that VFS is doing a professional services. So we don't get too much complaints in this area, like everything. One more thing I want to mention about the time delay is that people do need to travel. Most of the services are available through postal system. So they send the applications, so it can come in postal. We do services, including miscellaneous and other services, passport, visa. So there is no need for anyone to travel. Now they send the sticker prepaid courier within themselves. They have the option of sending their own courier return also. So there is no requirement for anyone to travel. We are trying to do, but we are also going to them. So these are the areas. We are trying to go to these places where not many consular camps have been held, small towns where there are a considerable amount of population. So we are focusing on that. We are making a roster so that every state in my jurisdiction is covered, and multiple times, so that they don't feel that let out. So we are focusing on small towns also.
So how does VFS ensure hassle-free experience for your customers and applicants?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned before, we started in 2001, and if you compare the process then and process now, obviously there is a big change in that. The change has happened from the process perspective, technology perspective, and from the perspective of the expectation and requirements that people have from the embassy or the consulate, and that of course directly reflect on our offerings as well. Over the years we have brought different solutions to the embassies and the governments, which can be integrated with the process. I can name a few here. We talk about visa at your doorstep, for example. We are not in those days where now there have to be long queues outside the embassy or the consulates for applying the visa. There are solutions like visa at your doorstep that we have curated, wherein the entire team of VFS goes to the location of the applicant. So literally you're applying your visa or your passport from your home. We carry the mobile biometric kits. Those technological advancement has been integrated into our processes. People can apply visa or passport right from their home, including the biometrics enrollment as well. Till date, we have done a little more than 275 million applications across the globe. We have done the enrollment of more than 130 million applications, throughout our network that we have in 150 countries. In terms of making it hassle-free, we have set up the visa application centers. Those are operating longer hours. If you compare with the olden days where people have to stand in the queue for longer hours, we have solutions like prime time for the people who don't want to take day off from their work. They can come to our centers at 7 o'clock in the morning, or they can come at 6 o'clock in the evening, after their working hours. So prime time is one such solution. Visa at your doorstep is second solution. We have created a concept called premium lounges. So within the visa application center, there is a separate sector, which is quite similar to the lounges that you have at the airport. This is more for the business class travelers. So they can take premium lounges where the wait time is not there. The process is quite customized, personalized, on the needs of the applicant. So those solutions have also been curated. We have also curated solutions like, along with the help of consulates and the embassies, like consular camps, you address that challenge in a very different way, where you have the big diaspora spread into a huge geographical landscape. You don't want to, of course, set up 50 or 100 centers, but you kind of address those problems by mitigating those issues by creating new solutions. E-visa solution is the one I can mention here, where people can apply e-visa completely. So we work with about 10 governments where we created a e-visa solutions for them. So applicants, so those are of course governmental decision. Once the government decide to launch a e-visa for a particular country, we as an organization are able to give that solution to them. So in terms of the solutions over the last 10 years, we have created 16 digital solutions that are currently being implemented with some of the other governments across the globe, that has completely made the travel process or taking the visa process into another level for the applicant.
I'm just curious about the visa at the doorstep. Did you say, can anybody avail that facility, or do they have to have like a handicap, or there is some restraints?
So all the services that we offer from our visa application centers, they must be authorized by the respective client government. So we do not offer anything that is not authorized by a client government. So the way we work with the embassies and the consulate is all our SLAs are well covered in those agreements and the contracts that we have, and we completely honor those. So you also have to understand, we work for 67 client governments. There are different requirements for each of those governments. There are different challenges they have. The processes are quite different. So we have created a solution. So we believe that one size do not fit all. So you have to be flexible with the offerings. So we have those offerings for each of the governments. It's up to them, of course, to kind of evaluate those, understand, and then decide what solutions they want to implement. But coming specifically to visa at your doorstep, yes, that solution is available for most of the governments. Most of the countries use that, and it's especially for the people who would like not to come to the center. They don't have time, or they're busy and they want very personalized services, and they want somebody to come at home and collect. Like you remember during the COVID times, we had those services, like people were coming at home and doing a test rather than you going to the medical centers, right? So these are slightly, of course, you can call them premium services for people. And I can say that also in US particularly, this service is very popular. I can talk about some of the governments where we are using these services, and a lot of people are, of course, availing these services, which is visa at your doorstep.
So you receive a lot of feedback from the community. So given all of that, where do you see the scope of improvement for the consulate?
Okay, it's a good one. I asked my team initially took over consulate, let me see the feedback. That's where the starting point. We can't start from scratch. There's already things happened, a lot of improvements happened. So I was surprised to see not much negative feedback. All praising the team who were in consulate, like some of the services are good, and including VFS services and other services. They all praise the services. They're very happy with the services. Except when I probe, because I said that I go and meet community. Whenever I go, I ask them a few more questions but they do come up with the procedural and documentation related. These are the two feedbacks which I got, that they find sometime uploading photo evidence difficulty, and what are the documents, where their understanding of the document, what is our requirement of document. This kind of a small gap, we are trying to address that. That's what I said, that we are coming with a video. What are the types of document which we need to upload for a set of document? For example, proof of address, what is the types of document? Proof of residential address, proof of photograph, proof of other things, what is the requirement? So I don't see any drastic improvement in our services. Having said that, we can't be we can't be complacent in this matter. We have to try to do services. I just want to submit my team. It's a great team and they're doing fantastic work. I'll be surprised to see what is the pendency. When I ask them pendency, there is no zero pendency. So the passport received today are endorsed visa today itself, and the miscellaneous service received are given the miscellaneous services on the same day. So they go home finishing all the tasks. If there is an extra application on that day, they sit late and finish and go. So that is the kind of services we are offering. Of course, OCA is a time-bound process where we have to issue, and the time bound is finished, and we issue on the day of the final, either 21 days or 30 days based on the different type of application. So these are the services as of now going good. As I said, that the scope of improvement is largely enormous in the name of emergency services. While we are ready to do emergency service upon arrival, but still it takes some more time because somebody has to call, and that call has to go to the relevant person. The relevant person has to come. But that we are keeping the flexibility because we are ready to work 24/7. We have opened our consulate in the middle of night. We open in the middle of afternoon. We open early morning. We open late evening. So we are very flexible in that way. So that is an emergency situation. That is where I find a little bit of scope. We are also contemplating what else we can do. But I don't see that much can be done. What is most important in this parlance is that whenever I go, I share my number. Anybody who is willing to contact me on emergency, my number is available with all the community leaders. They can contact me. My team number is also available with all the things. So that is another way of getting it, cutting across these emergency services, because people who are in, for example, far away, 7 hours, 8 hours, by the time they reach, we also encourage them, why can't we fill the application there itself and send us in WhatsApp and other means, so that by the time they come here, we finish our paperwork and do it. So these are the kind of improvisation we are doing it on our own. There are a lot of other suggestions like improving our consular area to make it more Indianized. That's also on the job. We are doing that job. So to make it give an Indian tinge, like Indian chai, somebody to offer small things. So we are work in progress. So we will be doing that one. But from perspective of the application and everything, so this application process and the documentation, we are working on that.
So, given the number of increasing Indian students in the US and also rising concern about the death of Indian students in the US, how do you sort of plan on reaching out, and what are your touch points for them?
Yeah, so it's Indian students have increased coming to USA because the US has become a popular education destination among Indian students, and it is continuing. In my jurisdiction also, there is a phenomenal increase of Indian student coming. And as you know that there are a lot of concerns in January and February month, there are a lot of safety and security concerns among Indian students and Indian diaspora students. You know that our embassy in Washington has reached out to all the student community and student community leaders, student leadership, and we took a webinar, and we continued one more webinar following 2 months down the line to ensure them, to make sure them that consulates and the embassies are available on any time. As I said that we have listed 2 officers from our consulate, so do all the other consulate and embassy, that any student related issue they could contact their mobile number directly. So that's the first touch point that we have told that we are there, just to make sure the parents and the students that we are there to come. Okay, having said that, the numbers are staggering. There are various places they are present, because time is the essence for any crisis. So we encourage students through the webinars, through our, as I mentioned, that whenever I go to any place, I make sure that I visit the student residence. So I visited almost all the universities in Florida, most of the places in Alabama and everywhere. So wherever I go, I make sure that I visit the student faculty, meet the student college leadership to apprise them. But we are from India. That is culturally different. So students come from, especially the first and second year students, they have different aspirations and ambitions. So to kind of impress upon them what is the culturally and what is our requirement, how to make sure safety and the security. So that is another thing. So third is we have issued our do's and don'ts, the guidelines before coming, after coming, what you have to do, following all the process and related things. So these are 3-4 things which you are doing, and it is a continuous process. We will continue to reach out to all the students, and we encourage community leaders also to keep track of the Indian students there, which they are offered to work with the Indian student. We told student leadership also that if there is any crisis, you should know who is the community leader in that city or that part of the town, so that they could reach out to them immediately. So weekend medical issues are big of an issue for the students. We also put in touch with the doctors in that area where they could help them to kind of suggest them in the weekend medical, because weekend medical is off in the college campuses. So there are other issues, small issues which students face, like accommodation and other things. We are putting in touch with in case-to-case basis. We are also helping students to come and settle and do their work properly.
So, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today and for everything you do for the community. It has been a learning experience to know how, even with the ever-growing Indian population, the consulate keeps up, and with technology, VFS supports these services. It's been wonderful. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And everyone, please keep watching Travel and Diplomacy for more episodes like this.